I just realized recently that I always carried fear with me. I recently came across this, it was like a meme, and it basically was talking about anger. And it was saying that anger loves you the most because anger stands up for you, anger is always present, and anger is always there for you when you feel like you've been mistreated. It always stands up for you. And I was like, that makes sense. Then shortly thereafter, I was watching a video. This coach was talking to this woman about her being her authentic self. And basically, she was just talking about how did she get out of fear. And he told her to basically just, connect with it. And ultimately, she told fear, she said, "Fear, I love you." So this brought me back to that quote about anger. And I was just like, I realized anger was there for me. But ultimately, fear was the one that was there for me. Fear was what I always carried with me. Fear was always stood up for me. Fear was always there when I felt I was wrong. And when you think about it, that's where anger comes from, fear, right? So the bottom ultimate emotion was fear. I just realized, I'm like, my whole life that, I won't say my whole life because obviously when we are babies, we are not taught, or we are taught to fear. We don't have fear. Babies are fearless. They'll jump off of stuff or climb off stuff, climb up stuff. A baby will walk in the street. They don't know to fear things. A baby will touch a hot stove. Things that babies do. They operate without fear. So we're taught that. So at some point, fear became my lover. Fear became my best friend. Fear became my everything to me. And that's just a realization I had. And, I'm just at the point where I'm ready to go back to the point of no fear, And it's a process. It definitely is. It's not something that you could just, I guess you can can wake up and be like, okay, I have no more fear. But, and you tell yourself that. But I think just as how you are programmed to fear, you have to deprogram yourself to not have fear. So, like I said, you have to deprogram yourself to not be in fear mode and not always be in fear. And that's what I'm working on. Deprogramming the fear.